What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Jaya, and on this little corner of the internet, we like to talk all things books. So if fiction is your choice of poison as well, then you guys are definitely in the right place. I basically read pretty much any different genre as long as it's within fiction. Every once in a while, there'll be a memoir or a nonfiction that's read, preferably in January, because I feel like that's the season. But other than that, I would say it is mostly fiction. That being said, today we're going to be doing a series review. So if that sounds like something that would be fun for you guys, definitely stick around. It's reading time here at JB's Corner. For those of you that are new here, welcome. It's so amazing to have you here to talk all things books. For those of you that are returning, thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this joy of books with every single one of you and to be cultivating this amazing reading community. Today, we are going to be talking about the Saga of the Unfated, which is the duology that was written by Danielle Jensen. This series kind of took the world by storm in the book talk world with A Fate Inked in Blood last year. There were many different special edition versions of this book that also came out, and I know this author is a little bit on the newer side, so there's been a lot of book signings and tours and everything that she did. And I can honestly say when I read this book last year, I fell in love. So I had to read A Curse Carved in Bone when it came out. This recent, when did it come out? I want to say it came out last month, maybe the month before. But when it came out this year, I had to grab it. Also, just a fun fact, not that I'm a sponsor for them in any way, shape, or form, or that I have any ties with them, but I absolutely love Book of the Month. I would have never discovered this series without them. Book of the Month is basically a subscription service where you can sign up, and if you don't use your credit for one of the months, it's totally fine. It just gets rolled over. It's basically $15 per month, and then any additional hardback edition that you add on is an additional $10. So you can get a brand new book that's coming out for $15 per month, along with additional books that you want for $10. They have different tiers of loyalty as well. So once you've been with them for a while, you get a lot of different options in terms of little goodies, free books for your birthday, little tote bags, stickers, things like that. So if that's your vibe, definitely consider checking them out. They basically have a curated selection of books from different genres that are new authors that are coming out in stores at that time. So these are brand new books that are hitting the press hot, and they usually have 6 books that are highlighted for the month, and then they'll also have some additional spotlight titles as well as additional books that didn't quite make the cut for being the book choice for that month, but were still amazing books that needed to have a shout out. Once you select your box, they basically ship out your books directly to you, and you can typically have up to 5 books max per box that you choose to ship. That was a lot of words. I do apologize. As I mentioned, I personally am not sponsored by them, but there's so many other booktubers here who do have relationships with Book of the Month, and they do have awesome coupons and codes. Definitely go check those out because sometimes you can get your first box for as low as $5.99. That being said, that is how I discovered Danielle Jensen, and I am just so excited to go through my experience with the Unfated saga. So let's talk about A Fate Inked in Blood first. This book is basically following the story of a young woman named Freya. She grew up in a household where she was loved to a certain extent by her father and mother, and she had a close relationship with her brother growing up. But while she was always beautiful, she was a fisherman's she became a fisherman's wife because her family basically married her off to the man of the hour, if you will, within their little village because of his ties with the fish. Also, her husband happened to have a drop of blood from a god, hence the Fate Inked in Blood. And so because he had this little drop of blood in him, he had powers in the sea, which allowed him to have more access to food and things like this. And so all the fishermen came to him in order to gain their food. Now, Freya absolutely hated her husband. He was abusive, he was rude, he was terrible. And so eventually she comes to blows with him. And during this process, she happens to meet another stranger who's coming out of the water named Bjorn. She doesn't know who he is. She doesn't know what his tale is. But when she's trying to escape for her freedom, and she ends up accidentally attacking her husband, it is revealed that she actually has a little drop of a goddess's blood in her as well. And she is the prophesized shield maiden that everyone has been waiting for. Unknowingly, she ends up getting linked with the king of their area, their province, because he is looking for the shield maiden in order to grow his territory and to protect his people. The problem is the king himself is also a very, very tyrannical character in the way that he's described. And so she's really struggling with getting married to him and being forced to be his bride, especially when he clearly prefers his original first wife. Bjorn happens to be the king's son, the king has a wife currently that he prefers over Freya, but his first wife is actually dead and gone, and her son is Bjorn, who was the man that was coming out of the water. So then Freya and Bjorn are basically stuck together as Freya is dragged from territory to territory along with this king, basically trying to protect her people and be pushed into a war that she never wanted to fight in the first place. And during the course of all of this, we learn a couple of things. So in the Norse mythology and within this realm, the belief is that if you don't have any drops of blood of the gods within you, your fate has already been preordained. So basically, whatever is written is what will come to pass. However, if you have a drop of blood of a god within you, your destiny has not been foretold and you are therefore unfated, which means that you have the unique capacity to use free will to change your destiny. So everyone is basically seeking guidance of the unfated and wants to be near the unfated so that they can potentially change the predictions that are in play for where the future will go. All of this is happening because the king to which Freya is wed and essentially who she has to swear her loyalty to is at war with another king, King Heidel. And so basically throughout the course of this book, it is basically the movement of both of the kings moving towards each other as they're trying to claim their properties and basically control their people. I think there was a lot of really crazy, great things that happened in this book. The romance in this book is also absolutely amazing. Bjorn and Freya are definitely enemies to lovers type of situation going on. And of course, in all of this, she's also married to Bjorn's father. So there's also that. But the oath that she has to swear to King Smalley, the king that she's wed to, is that she has to serve his blood, which indefinitely means that she also has to serve Bjorn. Bjorn is also extremely powerful and has a drop of God's blood within him as well. And so because of that, he has the ability to wield Thor's hammer and fire and all this other stuff. So because of this, he also protects Freya because he is assigned to do so. Now, during the course of this book, a lot of crazy things happen. She also discovers that she is more powerful than she thinks. And throughout the course of this book, there's an oracle-like figure who consistently comes up to Freya and basically tells her her future and her fate and what could happen if she doesn't take the next step. This book was absolutely amazing. At the end of the book, we have some crazy betrayals that happen and you have some change in events that end up occurring that completely destroys Freya's faith in people. And as we go through this book, we also notice that Freya goes from being someone who has always been of strong spirit, but relatively kind and demure, into someone who is slowly becoming more and more and more angry. And as we get towards the end of the book, it is revealed that she actually may or may not have another goddess's blood in her as well, making her the daughter of not one goddess, but two. And that's basically where this book left off. This is an absolutely incredible book. I ended up giving this a solid 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. We actually read it for my book club last year, and every single one of us enjoyed it so much that we actually were waiting to get our hands on the second book, which is none other than A Curse Carved in Bone. I do want to mention that at this point, if you have not read the first book and it is on your TBR, please do jump off of this video because spoilers will be coming your way as we start talking about the second book in the series. So in A Curse Carved in Bone, we have basically been left off finding out that Freya not only has the goddess's blood from the shield maiden goddess, but also from the goddess of hell. So because of this, she is able to condemn souls to her mother's realm underground without them ever having the chance of reaching Valhalla should she want to do so. Once they discover this, the other king, who basically is Bjorn's father, and who he shows loyalty to, comes into play, and he whisks Freya away. Now, Freya is very, very concerned because at the end of the day, she doesn't like Smalley, but at the same time, she's very, 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 very patriotic to her people. So she is concerned that if she switches camps and if she's forced as a prisoner of war to serve this new king, that she inadvertently will cause her own people to suffer. As we go through the course of this book, we see that the other king, Heidel, is slowly working on making Freya trust him, and she's also creating relationships with the other members of his team. As the book progresses, we also learn that things are not as they seem, and we end up in a position where Bjorn is also betrayed. And so now both Freya and Bjorn have finally reconciled their differences, but are now stuck in the middle of an island with no idea of how to get out of their situation, completely at odds, and basically forced into a situation where they have to figure out how they're going to save and reunite their people. Meanwhile, one king has died, and they are dealing with the aftermath of that situation as well. And now Freya is in a unique position where she has to stand up for herself while everybody fears her and everybody thinks that she is the cause of all the destruction around them. And with Bjorn falling apart, she has the unique task set upon her where she has to basically use the gifts that her mothers have given her in order to save an entire people and to bring everyone back together. Anyone who liked Lord of the Rings, the third movie, where the ghost army is brought back with Aragorn, that type of scene is also in this book. Anyone who loves a strong woman character who likes to go to war, that is in this book. Anybody who likes a strong woman character who also carries the male lead character when he is unable to do so himself, this is your book. Freya is probably one of the most badass female lead characters I've ever read. For anyone who likes Aelin, anyone who likes Farah, anyone who likes those Sarah J. Maas strong female characters, Quinlan, any of these people, you are going to enjoy this book. I personally felt like between the Norse mythology vibes of these books, as well as the twisted tales that end up happening, and the rate at which Freya grows in both of these books is absolutely phenomenal. Overall, I would say that A Curse Carved in Bone was a little bit on the longer side. There were portions of the book that felt like they were sluggish to me, but for the most part, it was still really enjoyable. And I definitely thought that this duology was worth picking up and reading. Now, as I had mentioned, this was a 5-star read for me. A Curse Carved in Bone was closer to a 3.5 just because of how slow the book was. But I do think the overall ending of the book was really cool. And I do think some of the plot twists that end up happening throughout the course of this book definitely keep you riveted and interested in the book. It's just some of the middle scenes were slow. That being said, I definitely think this is a series worth picking up and reading. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet, definitely go check out this series. Once again, it is The Saga of the Unfated by Danielle L. Jensen. Definitely recommend. And that does bring me to the end of this video. I really tried to keep it as minimal as possible with the spoilers. I do realize some things kind of inadvertently had to be revealed in order to talk about the second book. So hopefully anybody who did not want spoilers jumped off the video. But if you did end up staying on the video just to hear a little bit more about the series, hopefully there wasn't enough spoilers for you to be turned off on actually reading the books. I would definitely recommend them. I think they're a fun read. I just wanted to say, for everyone who's new here, if you did make it to the end of this video, thank you for hanging around. If you like review type videos for books or just books in general, I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday and would love to have you as part of our bookish community if you want to come back and hang out. So definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're always aware of anything that comes out. For those of you that are returning, thank you so much for being here. It is an absolute pleasure to build this community with you guys and to read all of these books together. I love the comments you guys leave for me. I just am absolutely floored by the amount of support. So thank you again for all of that. And I just wanted to say, wherever you are, morning, evening, or night, to all the watchers here, I hope you and your family are safe, happy, and surrounded by love. And I look forward to talking to you even more about books in the future. Catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.